Shabbat Shalom. Hi everyone. So an interesting thing is that we have tonight a small crowd in the synagogue, which is almost unusual. So I'd like to invite you to sit closer if you feel comfortable doing that. I think it will be great. We are stuck here. We need the microphones. We can't get closer because of the structure of the microphones. But if you feel comfortable doing so, please do. And I want to share. A year ago, there are two things that are happening at the beginning of our service, and we will dedicate a few minutes to acknowledge them. Some of the traditions that we carry in our tradition, for example, the one of doing a memorial service in the holiday of Shmini Atzeret, is a very important one because it gives people the opportunity to reconnect with their memories. And it comes immediately after Yom Kippur. So if you missed, you'll have one more chance. The problem with that is that liberal communities don't pray, most of them, or our community doesn't pray in the morning of Shmini Atzeret. We don't have that equal opportunity. So what we thought was that we were going to give the opportunity to do a short discourse, a short memorial, for those that need it, just before the Friday night that comes immediately after that. And on top of that, a year ago, we have the massacre, probably the most terrible event that the Jewish community experienced in the United States, in Pittsburgh. And we said lots of words, and at the time, I myself said many words. And I want to just acknowledge that this happened a year ago. I want to remind ourselves that we face hatred with love. That when we face hatred with hatred, we start the circle that we can't stop. And the Jewish way to handle and to face hatred is by increasing love. And memory is our way to reconnect with love. So we're going to do a very short memorial service, and from there, personal and community and congregational, because Pittsburgh is a community or a universal thing, and our personal memories are our personal memories. And from there, we are going to move into the joy and the celebration of our Kabbalat Shabbat. We are going to celebrate the seventh day, and of course, our identities.
Rising of the sun, we remember. In the blowing of the wind, we remember. In the opening of buds, we remember. We remember. In the blueness of the sky, we remember. In the rustling of the leaves, we remember. As the year starts and it ends, we remember. We remember. When we're weary and need strength, we remember. When we're lost and sick at heart, we remember. When we've as we yearn to share, we remember, we remember. So long as we live, they too shall live. They are now a part of us. They are now a part of us. They are now a part of us. As we remember, we remember. We remember.
I'd like to invite you to go to the back of the room, and as before we start Shabbat, if you feel comfortable doing so, and if you wish to light memorial candles for those that you are remembering, and for those that were killed last year in Poway and in Pittsburgh. The beginning of the memorial service on page 574, and I invite you to take your chair and to choose one or two of the psalms and to dedicate a moment for yourself for personal reading as we prepare for one more moment in respectful and deep silence toward His court. Page 574. you need to say Iskor, please turn your Machzorim to page 580 and rise. If you have to say Iskor. If you don't need to say Iskor, please remain sitting. You need to say. We're on page 580. You can follow the readings for the silent Iskor and bring to your mind the soul of the person that you are remembering. As soon as you finalize the reading of his core, you can sit. You may sit. Elaine.
Tree of life, you have commanded us to choose life, renew our days, unify our hearts, and enlighten our eyes in your Torah. Let God's countenance shine upon us in grace and peace, source of life and blessings. We have opened our lips in prayer. O God, we call to you from the depths. It is good to give thanks with the survivors and on behalf of the responders. God supports all who stumble and makes all who are bent stand straight. In despair and pain, we have unified, and we have returned to you in faith through our love for one another. Heal us, and we shall be healed. Grant us all good. Selah. Tree of life, rock of Israel and its Redeemer, spread compassion and grace upon us. Righteousness and justice should dwell within us. God, our coming and our goings here in Pittsburgh and throughout the world, from now and for eternity.
Amen. If you need to say Kaddish, we are on page 598. Please rise. יתגדל ויתקדש שם רבה. בעלמא דברה חילותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהא שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשיו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושילתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דהמירם בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, בחיים בכל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. May the memories of those that perished in Pittsburgh, in Poway, be a blessing, and may the memories of your dear ones be a living blessing in our lives. You may be seated. And now we need to do a transition between a short memorial service and the memory and the grief into the joy of Shabbat. And one of the things that we learn is that when we want to console mourners, we say, Amakom Yanachem, may the place console you. May you find comfort in the place, referring to one of the names of God. But God's presence as the place is actually found in the presence of our community, in the presence of our families, in the presence of those that surround us and love us. So we start this transition from grief and memory into the joy of Shabbat, celebrating and recognizing our being community and our welcoming Shabbat together tonight. Maybe with actually a popular song, not just Jewish one, but the popular one.
Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride if I have things you need to borrow, for no one can fill those of your needs that you don't let show. You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, but it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. When you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on.
Take a deep breath. I'd like to invite Miriam Van Rolt to light Shabbat candles. We are on page 120. As we welcome Shabbat, please rise.
Amen.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Tada Miriam. Thank you. You may be seated. We turn our Sidurim now to page 128.
30.
28.
ידיד נפש ורחמן, ידיד נפש ורחמן, משכבתך ארץ זונך, משכבתך ארץ זונך, ירוץ
as we turn our Sidurim to page 130, Lechu Neranena LaAdonai, we welcome Shabbat with a deep sense of joy.
Lechu neranena l'Adonai, nari al tzur yishenu, nekadma fanav betoda bizmirot, nari alo Bafanav betoda mizmirot nari alo. Ay ray 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 ya ray 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 ya ray 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 ya ray 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 ya ray 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 Page 130, Shiru LaAdonai, Shir Chadash, sing unto God a new song, a song of renewal, as we start this Shabbat also of Parashat Bereshit. Shiru LaAdonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru LaAdonai, Kol haaretz, Shiru LaAdonai, Baruch Shemo, Basro miyom leyom, Yeshuato, Sapro v'goyim, Kevodo, Bechol ha'amim, Nivlotav, Ki gadol Adonai, Hu me'olam me'od, Lo ra'u, Al kol Elohim, Yai rai rai, Ki kol Elohim, Elohim, V'Adonai Shamayim asa, Od Adar לפניו, עוז ותפארת במקדשו. לשמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ, ייראה Shabbat Shalom.
Just say Shabbat Shalom. It's very simple.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. We now turn our Sidurim to page 134 as we think about all the sounds of of our existence, all the voices, all the diversity that we have within our own selves. We try to gather all those pieces and bring them together in a melodious song. Zamru LaAdonai.
Zamru LaAdonai bechinor, Zamru LaAdonai bechinor, bechinor vekol zimra, bechinor vekol zimra. Zamru LaAdonai bechinor, Zamru LaAdonai bechinor, bechinor vekol zimra, bechinor vekol zimra. בחצוצרות וקול שופר, אניו לפני המלך אדוני, אלי, 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 בחצוצרות וקול שופר, אניו לפני המלך אדוני. ים ומלואות, תבל ויושבבה, נהרות ממך וכף, יחד הרים ירננו. בחצוצרות וקול שופר, אריו לפני המלך אדוני, אלי, 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 בחצוצרות וקול שופר, אריו לפני המלך אדוני.
Adonai Eloheinu v'shtachavuu le'ar kodsho, exalt Adonai our God, and bow toward God's holy hill. We turn our Sidurim to page 138. Our tradition compares Shabbat with a queen or with a bride. We say, Lecha dodi likrat kola. Let's come and welcome the Shabbat bride. Because our tradition thinks of Shabbat as the presence of something magical, as the presence of something sacred, that we actually need to work to welcome into our midst. So we open our hearts and we welcome the bride, the Shabbat queen. We hear activities sing the first, the second, the fifth, and the sixth, and the ninth verses of Lecha dodi on page 138.
לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקרבלה, לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם לזוכה, זאת לעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקרבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, 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 שתברי, כבוד אדוני על
the gates of the synagogue, as we think of the queen, the Shabbat bride coming into our midst and bringing the sacredness of the seventh day.
בואי ושלום, עטרת בדם, גם בשמחה ובצער, תוך אמונה עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. איי איי יאללה 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 יאללה, איי איי יאללה 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 יאללה, איי איי יאללה 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 יאללה, איי איי יאללה יאללה יאללה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
You may be seated. I was in a conversation this week about spirituality with a group of 30 years old. We're sitting in a bar, and I asked them what was the most spiritual place in their opinion. And most of the answers had to do with nature. There's something in nature that brings and expresses the mightiness of the creation. I remember a couple of years ago, and this is the week in which we are reading Bereshit, the story that tells us how the world was created according with Jewish tradition. I was in Sedona, and all of a sudden, the red rocks made me feel that I was somehow witnessing the mightiness of God. The word Adam, is like the word Adama, earth, and like the word Adom, red. So I was looking at the red rocks. I was like, oh my gosh. And everything was so clear to me all of a sudden. There are moments of deep connection. There are moments in which we connect with nature and we feel the mightiness of the world. So I'd like to invite you just for one moment to close your eyes and to go to the most spiritual place for you, the place that brings you peace and silence.
קולות מים רבים, אדירים משברי ים.
מקולות מים רבים, אדירים משברי ים. We're on page 141. The ocean sounds God. The ocean sounds its tender. מקולות מים רבים, אדירים משברי ים. מקולות מים רבים, אדירים משברי ים. אדיר במרום אדוני, אדיר במרום אדוני, אדיר במרום במרום אדוני, קולות מים רבים, אדירים בשפלי ים, בקולות מים רבים, אדירים בשפלי ים, אדיר במרום אדוני, אדיר במרום אדוני, אדיר במרום אדוני.
Page 144.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועמד יברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, וחיי תכל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה, ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמירה במבורך, לעולם ולעולם מהמיה, יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמר קודשה בריחו, לילה מן כה ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירן בעלמה, ואמרו אמן. ברכו את אדוני
As we ask for the gates of prayer to be open before us, we turn our Sidurim to page 148. Please join me for the first half of the blessing, for the turning of the seasons, for the turning of the days. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe.
Speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan.
צבאות שמות, חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, אמרי ורבים.
Amen.
As we turn our Sidurim now to page 152, and we prepare for the Shema. Our tradition teaches us that as we come to the Shema, we are supposed to be thinking about something that makes us feel deeply loved. Our tradition also teaches us that the beauty of this world is an expression of the divine love toward each of us. I invite you to close your eyes and to think about beauty in your life. Something uniquely beautiful for you. And as you think about that, maybe think about something that makes you feel deeply loved. It might be landscape, it might be a place in nature. It might be a memory, person, a face. Bring to your heart, to your mind, something, someone that makes you feel deeply loved. And let the light of that presence surround you as a talit, as a prayer shawl that embraces you and reminds you that you are not alone. You had something, that you had someone to lean on. I invite you to take a deep breath.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Once again, take a deep breath. As we say, dear God, never let that love, that perception of beauty be away, be far from us. We say, "Be'ahavtcha al tasir mimenu leolamim." Blessed are you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Israel. Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Please join me for Ve'ahavta on page 154. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושילנתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם נאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם,
אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אמן.
אדוני אלוהיכם, אמן. אמת באמונה כל זאת וקיים עלינו, כי הוא אדוני אלוהינו, ואין זולתו, ואנחנו ישראל עמו. We continue with the silent reading over page 156. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, who is like you, O God? We are on page 158.
ויהי כמוך באים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, אלי די מלכותך רבנך, הוגי הים נפתמו שומר ירם, זה אלינו ואמרו, זה אלינו ואמרו.
ונאמר כפניו אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. We turn our sidurim to page 160 as we start thinking about the shelters of peace that we need to create for ourselves in order to find internal peace, in order to respond to this transgenerational invitation that Shabbat opens before us.
ושמו צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלום לך ברוך אתה אדוני הבורא סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו
השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, את הארץ. וביום השביעי, שוב ביום השביעי, שבת ויהי נפש.
Turn our series to page 164. As we start Tfilat Amidah, we can follow the words of our tradition, the millennia-old words of our tradition. Or alternatively, we can close our eyes and try to find the prayer of our hearts, the Tfilah Shebalev, the words that we need to say, the prayer that we need to express. Adonai Sfatai Tiftach Ufi Yagid Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. לא תגיבו לו לעמוד, לא תגיבו תפתיו, להושיע, מושיע הרוח ומוליד הגשם, מחכים. דק דק מקפלף, דק מקפלף. רצוננו, בבת תקווה, ותהיה לרצון תמיד, אופת ישראל עמך אל קרוב כולו. מודים אנחנו לך, אתה אדוני אלוהינו ולאה, אבותינו ואמותינו, לעולם ועד. שנראה לעשרה אחד, אז לא. At the bottom of page 180, we conclude Tfilat Amidah asking to find wholeness, internal wholeness, but also to find wholeness, peace, shalom, in the encounter with each other. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל. Amen.
Amen.
May the one who makes peace in the high heavens make peace for us, for all Israel, and for all who inhabit the earth. Amen.
Amen.
We turn our Sidurim now to page 371. As we conclude our Tfilat Amidah, we take a moment to acknowledge that those that are dealing with illness in their bodies, in their souls, those that are dealing with addictions. If you have a name that you'd like to share in this evening of Shabbat, please do so as I point in your direction. If you are praying for someone's recovery, you can share a name if you like. Thank you. On page 371, Mishebrach.
Yisheberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
I wish to all of them refuah shlema v'chlama meira, a complete and a fast recovery. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
So, do you know what's the Torah portion we are reading this week? Bereshit, Genesis, the first Torah portion in the entire Torah. And this is a very interesting one. Noah and Gilad, I will need to ask you a favor. You guys will need to be very, very quiet, because I will have a conversation with all these people. And if you talk too loudly, it's going to be really difficult. So please, you can play and make just a little noise, but you can't totally do that. That's a wonderful creation, Noah. It's very impressive what you did with your diapers there. Now, well, this is the Torah portion about creation, so it's fine that Noah is working on his creations. So, Lo Keminagi, not as my custom on Friday nights, and yes, as our custom on Saturday mornings, I want to have a conversation, short one. So, before I even start, you know what are the topics of the first Torah portion of Parashat Bereshit? The book of Genesis is a long book with many, many, many stories. But the first portion, any idea about the main topics in the first portion? Creation. God's creation, the creation of the world. What?
Tower of Babel. That's not in this one. This is that's in Noah. That's in the end of Noah. Okay, but that's you are just a week away, Miriam. You are very close. Next week, by the end of the next week. Okay. Yeah, the first crime in history. What else? Adam and Eve. And let's talk about Adam and Eve. I actually want to talk about them. So what's the thing with Adam and Eve, right? Like, they were created twice. Weren't chapter 1 and chapter 2. Two different stories of creation. Isn't that something? I want to just make a couple of points out of these two stories of creation, and then I want to get into something very specific. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, I think, it's written that man was created in the image of God. And as we start the second chapter, toward the end of the first chapter and the beginning of the second chapter, we say, this verse that we sing every Friday before doing the blessing for Kiddush, the blessing for wine. We said that the world was created, etc., etc., etc. And then we come to a very specific sentence that says, Asher bara, that God created, Elohim, God, in order to do. Asher bara, Elohim lasot. Now, as soon as Adam is born or created, he has a very specific job. What's his first job? What? Okay, Pruerbu, that's when she comes. Right? That comes once she's in the picture. But before that, immediately as man is created, Adam is created, and the first name is Adam. Okay, and let's make this distinction. The first name is Adam. What is he supposed to do? He's supposed to take care of the other creations. He's responsible for the creation. In this story, this is a very different story. Humans are placed in the center of the creation, and we are responsible for the world. But the first task is to name all the animals in the Garden of Eden. He's supposed to start doing things. Now, that's an interesting thing. God could have done it instead of Adam, but that's Adam's task. There's something about Adam buying into this project of creation, right? He needs to take part in this process of creation. Now, they are first created as Adam and Eve. That's the first name that they get. The second time, is that the name that they get? Who says yes? No one. Who says the other one? You don't know what the other one is, right? Well, they're called Ish ve'Isha, men and women. In the second story, they are men and women. Now, two interesting situations. The first one, the first mitzvah that they receive, who say procreation? Miriam, you say that, right? So they are supposed to procreate immediately. So what's the meaning of that? What's the meaning of the fact that they are supposed to procreate immediately? To continue the process of creation. So there's a factory, we need to create, we need to keep working. Fine. What else? What are we missing about these creatures? If they are immediately able to procreate, there's something that we are missing. Well, obviously they have no childhood. Childhood. If they were born, they were created with the ability to procreate. Apparently not. So they didn't have childhood. And not just that, they are naked. So God placed two naked beings in the middle of the Garden of Eden and say, keep doing the work of creation. I did my part, now you go. Now, and then what happens? We go to the second piece of creation. Now, just a little thing to take into consideration. The first creation is from here? No. Good. The first creation is Yesh Mi'aim, out of nowhere. God says, let's create a human from dust. Wonderful. That actually, the concept of dust comes a bit later, but God is talking with angels. And he says, let us, he speaks in plural, he's talking to someone. Apparently it's angels. But the dust is right there. And he says, let us create a human. And he created Adam. Let's make Adam in our image. And that's Bereshit, Genesis 26 and 27. And that's how we start. Now, when we go to the second part of the story, we had a first creation, and then Eve in that story is created the same way, Yesh Mi'aim. And then in the second story of creation, Eve is created to a rib. What's the meaning of that, Elaine? What? Oh, we're already in the Kabbalistic world. I will give you a Kabbalistic twist. You were talking about Lilith? We'll talk about, I'll give you a Kabbalistic idea a bit later about the serpent, okay? We'll get there. Now, Mike Bell. I need to admit, Mike, I have no idea how many ribs we have. But I know that you probably do. How many ribs we have? Okay. Okay. So let's make this long story short. This time the creation is in relationship with each other. These two creatures now are deeply connected. They are dependent of each other. They need each other. And then it comes this idea that there's just one thing that is not good, and it's for men to be alone. So they are companions. They are together. Until here, basic knowledge about the story of creation. Now, something specific I want to explore with you. I want to actually read a few verses, if I just was able to understand how I place them. Good, here I am. Bereshit, Genesis chapter 2, 16. And God commanded men, saying, of every tree of the garden, you are free to eat, whatever you want. But as for the tree of knowledge of good and bad, you must not eat of it. For as soon as you eat of it, you will die. So this is bad. And then he says, the Lord said, it's not good for man to be alone. And I will make, I'm not going to give you the exact translation because it doesn't sound so good, but I will make for him a match, a wonderful match. And so he did. In Hebrew sounds wonderful. The Hebrew says, Ezer kenegdo, like a help in front of him, like an exact companion. And in English they wrote a helper. So that's why I'm not using that translation. So a loving match. That's closer to the real Hebrew. Now, and I'm going all the way now to chapter 3, verse 1. Now the serpent, who was like the most complex of all beasts that God had made, he said to the woman, she was already created, okay? Did God really say, you shall not eat from any tree of the garden? The woman replied to the serpent, we might eat of the fruit of the other trees in the garden. And then
It's only about the fruit of the tree in the, see where God placed that tree, in the middle of the garden. Come on! That God say we shall not eat, otherwise we will die. And the serpent said to the woman, you're not going to die. You're not dying. You're not going to die. But God knows that as soon as you eat of it, your eyes will be opened and you will be like divine beings who know good and bad. Here's the end. When the woman saw that the tree was good for eating and a delight for the eyes, and that the tree was desirable, something that she really wanted, as a source, here to this well, as a source of wisdom, she took of its fruit and ate. She did it. She also gave some to her husband. She shared. And he ate. Of course, we do whatever our wives tell us, right? But that's that's the story of my life. She's more generous than I am. She tells me what to do, and I do whatever she tells me to do, and that's how we have a happy life. Right? Now, so what happened here? So, now, if you have children, if you don't, I hope you soon will have, if you have children, you know that if you want to make sure that they do something, you tell them not to do it. You tell them, no, okay, I put this piece of something here. Don't touch it. Surprise, it's not there anymore. Don't cross the street. Surprise, they cross the street. So, what's happening here? What's going on in this story? And what's the meaning of the tree of life? Don't ruin my punch, Mike Bell. You had done it in the past.
God made man in the image of God, but we don't know what God looks like other than his backside, which is really bright. And the image of God...
You are bringing that from the interaction with Moses.
Yes.
You're going like 3 books away to go back to Genesis. Fine.
So we don't know what he looks like, but his image of God, God is someone or something that has knowledge of good and evil. So by saying that he created man in the image of God, he's jumping ahead because he knows what the result is going to be, that man will have knowledge of good and evil.
So he knows that man will have knowledge of good and evil. Great. What else? That's a wonderful interpretation. Thank you very much. And this time it's not my... So I appreciate that, Mike. He's very smart. He knows how to make maths. What else? Other ideas. Other ideas, suggestions. We need some interpretation, guys. Like I don't know what to say. See, you have a microphone. Use it.
Saying that God used reverse psychology.
So actually, God wanted them to eat from the tree of knowledge. Mm-hmm. He wanted them
exercise free will.
To exercise free will. Make sense? What else? Other possibilities. God wanted what? So God wanted them to trust them, and they didn't to trust him. They didn't listen to him, and so they paid the consequences.
This reminds me of the Midrash of Moses being guided away from the jewels and towards the fire, in that here Adam and Eve are being guided towards knowledge rather than eternity, because God is the only one who can be eternal. And so rather than eating from the tree of life, the lesser of the two evils is to eat from the tree of knowledge.
Thank you very much. Let me ask you a last question before I give you an idea. What about the serpent? A Nachash. What's his role here? What? Is he good, bad? God created the snake too, so the snake is a divine creature, fine. In this story, in this particular story, is he good? Is he bad? He has a different opinion. Any others? He's good. Why? He pointed. Wonderful. Thank you. Okay. Are they punished or not? What's the punishment? What's the punishment? Go. What's the punishment? No, we need you. What's the punishment?
The punishment was to leave the garden.
To leave the garden. Okay, so let's stop here one moment. I want to challenge that. With pain. So about the serpent, about the pain of creation, I might say something soon. I want to challenge this thing that the punishment is the fact that they left the garden. If you want to live today, I need to challenge it now, Elaine. But you know what? First you say.
I've been thinking about this. I mean, the challenge that you're giving us. The question is, what would happen if Adam and Eve stayed there?
Pause there. Perfect. Thank you. Pause there. Perfect. Give it to me. Give that to me. That's wonderful.
Are you giving him the lie?
Yes.
Okay.
So the Kabbalah says, has an interesting conclusion. Kabbalah says, actually, that the serpent was working for God and was fulfilling an important task and was an emissary of good. What was the important task that the serpent was fulfilling? One of the important things that we learn from the story of creation, and I think that this is one of the most foundational stories of the book of Genesis, not the story of Adam and Eve, but this idea, is that men and women are supposed to be partners in the creation. We are supposed to be partners in the creation, and we express our partnership in the creation by taking on our free will, making decisions, and trying to create things. That's what differentiates us, not just from animals, also from angels. From angels. In Jewish tradition, the angels don't have the ability to create. Humans do. Humans do. Now, the first story of creation, I really need you to collaborate with me, guys. We're about to conclude the sermon. I need you to collaborate with me. I really need silence now. In Jewish tradition, men and women are supposed to be partners on the creation. Let's go back to the beginning, Genesis, Asher bara Elohim lasod, that God created in order for us to do. The creation is being made all the time. The question is, how do we become partners? How do we? I can't now. I can't. How do we become partners in the creation of the world? Now, in the first story, we were too much like angels. Let us make like angels. And we are invited to take part in the creation by naming the animals. In the second story, there is a decision-making. And that decision-making that Eve and Adam make do something very, very important. What do? They do more than that. They challenge the boundaries. They challenge boundaries. You can't create anything. You can't create anything without challenging certain status quo. You can't create. The creation of the world or the creation of humanity is in that moment in which it ends and it begins, in the moment in which they challenge the boundaries that they were given. And humanity is about making choices. And at the moment that we made the first choice, now we have the ability to recognize good and bad and to make choices. I want to use this idea and this interpretation as we start the year and to read the book of Genesis, and we start our process back into a new year, to think about boundaries that need to be challenged in your life. Things that you have decided you, for some reason, you will never touch them, but they are not allowing you to exist because you don't touch them. We all carry one of those. And I think that the ability to create starts by challenging the status quo. And I want to remind something that my rabbi used to say. He used to say that the two most spiritual things that we have are, one, and I say that very often, gratitude. And the second one, try to guess, creativity. Creativity. Gratitude and creativity. This is time of the year in which we look at our lives, we look at our spaces, at our comfort zone, and we challenge it. And we try to think what will help us grow, what will help us open our eyes and have the ability to make new choices. Shabbat Shalom. We turn our Sidurim to page 586 for Aleinu Leshabeach. Please rise as we open the ark.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. At this point of our service, we take a moment to acknowledge there are people among our congregation that are remembering dear ones. If you are during the first 7 days of mourning Shiva, please rise and share with us who you're remembering. And your grandmother, your mother-in-law. If you are during the cycle of the first 30 days of mourning, Shloshim, please rise. If you are during the cycle of the first year of mourning, please rise. If you have a yahrzeit this week, please rise. Now you can support our fellows by standing or sitting, joining us with your voices and your hearts for Mourners Kaddish on page 598. יתגדל והתקדש שם רבה, בעלמא דיברה חירותי בהמליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, בחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב באמרו אמן. יהא שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירם בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, בחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. May the memories of your dear ones be living blessing in your life. Yes, Zichram Baruch. You may be seated. So just two announcements. Next month, November 22nd, in the American Month of Gratitude, we will recognize our volunteers, and we will be recognizing many of our volunteers, but also featuring Lynette Norcat. So I encourage you to join us and to participate in that evening of Shabbat and to celebrate with us. We will also, you get a letter, but we will also acknowledge our choir and all the hard work that you did during the high holidays. Yeah, you're volunteers. We will acknowledge you a little bit, but we will thank you. It's going to be a New York-style Jewish dinner, which basically means chicken soup and brisket. So that's what we're going to do. Now we are going to turn our theorem to page 142. I'd like to ask from religious practices to share some wine with all of you, share around, as we sing Shalom Aleichem, and then we will move into Kiddush. Please rise. Shalom
Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Kadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Baruch Hu, Barchuni Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Malachei הקדוש ברוך הוא, הקדוש ברוך הוא, צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי הקדוש ברוך הוא, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
And see what we say. ויחולו השמיים בארץ בכל צבעם, ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי, מלאכתו אשר עשה, on page 122. וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה, ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויקדש אותו. And on the seventh day, God created the seventh day, and He sanctified it. Mikol melachto, from all the rest of the things that God created in order to do. Page 123. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen chaim. Baruch atah Adonai,
Eloheinu melech haolam, asher קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו, ושבת קודשו באהבה ורצון הנחיל לנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקרא קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת לחיים.
Chaim. Now we are going to conclude our service, and I invite you to take a look at each other. Let's make sure that no one leaves this space without a blessing. We are all carriers of blessing. We all can share blessings. So if you feel comfortable, you can connect with your hands, you can embrace each other, you can look at each other, whatever works for you. As we say, we ask for God for the ability to recognize the places that we need to keep, the places that we need to protect exactly as they are. And we also ask for the courage to challenge sometimes our boundaries and to become partners in the creation of a world that is constantly created and that was created for us in order to keep creating. Yibrechem Adonai ve'yishmerechem, may God bless you and protect you. El Adonai panav elechem bichunechem, may God's light shine upon you and may God be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elechem ve'asim lachem shalom. May God's presence be within you, within us always. And may God bless all of us with wholeness, with peace. Shabbat shalom. Bagadlut
מעשיך מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך, הללויה,
מעשיך
הללויה,
מאוד
הללויה,
מחשבותיך.
הללויה, הללויה.
Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Oh.
There's